What's up guys, it's iOS Pro, and today I'm going to show you guys 51 new hidden features and changes I found in iOS 14 Beta 1 today. So the first one is, we go to settings, go to accessibility, go to voice control. You'll notice that previously it just told you the language your phone's voice control was stuck in, like English, you couldn't change it. But now Apple's giving you the ability to change your language now, so available for download for like United Kingdom and India. For English, so that was previously not available on iOS 13 here, see? It just did no arrow, no tab, it just displays it. But now on iOS 14, you can now change your language, which is really cool. Okay guys, so this next change is, when you go to accessibility, go to touch, go to assistive touch. If you click single tap, on iOS 13 here, it just has scroll gestures and dwell controls here. But now on iOS 14, scroll down, you have a new option for accessibility for speak screen and voice control, which is really cool. So you now have the option to single tap on assistive touch to enable these two speak screens and voice control, which is really cool. So brand new single tap option for assistive touch and accessibility. Okay guys, so this next change is in accessibility again. We go to voiceover, scroll down, tap on rotor. You'll notice that if you scroll to the bottom, you have two brand new options here for Braille Auto Advanced Speed and screen recognition now. So I don't know what these two do, but it's nice to know Apple's adding more options over time. So two new selections for the rotor and voice control, which is actually really cool. And if you scroll up on iOS, previously if you looked at the Braille table on iOS 13 here, you know it's grayed out, but on iOS 14 it's no longer grayed out. So really cool change. So nice new options for voiceover. Okay, so this next change is when you go to accessibility, go to touch, go to assistive touch, tap on long press, and you notice when you scroll down to the bottom here, you'll notice that dwell controls has been renamed to shortcuts, and that's moved up here. Instead of scrolling gesture down, you have dwell controls. Really cool. And it's, instead of having the scroll gestures here, they've been added to the new menu for speak screen and voice control, just like in the short tap for assistive touch, which is really cool. So brand new option there. So Apple just trying to make it cleaner, trying to put the toggles right where it's supposed to be, and that's why they're doing that. So really, really cool change. Okay guys, so this next change is, when you go to voiceover and accessibility, go down to activities, hit add activity, you'll notice that there's a brand new layout here on iOS 14 for the add activity section. So previously, you didn't have any of this other stuff on iOS 13 here, like all this other stuff right here, like mute speech, mute sound, and audio ducking is brand new for iOS 14. And all these other stuff right here, like speak emojis, table headers, and rows and column numbers, has been changed to tabs now, which is really cool. Same for the general status cell and text status cell. Those have been changed from little toggles to actual tabs, which is really cool. So brand new redesign for the add activity and voiceover. Really cool change. So overall, Apple's making it easier for you to use voiceover for like people who need it. So really cool. Okay, and the next change is in general, go to keyboard. You'll notice you have a slightly new layout for your keyboard layout here. So you see, if you have two languages previously, it would say this, check spelling and all this, but now this has been combined into all keyboards now, so really nice change here. And they moved it, enabled detection in languages to its own separate category down here called detection, which is really cool. And they've removed the description of what detection does and put it in about detection and privacy. And that's a really cool change there. So they're making it more organized, easier to find and control. Instead of separating them all like this, they're trying to make it into one little section now. That's why they're doing that, trying to clean it up and get everything where it's supposed to be. So nice changes there, Apple. Okay guys, so the next change is inside of general. If you go down profiles now, select your profile, you'll notice a new white background throughout the entire profile. You see in iOS 13 on the left here, it had a gray background and the profile was white, but now the profile is white and the background is white, so they've made the entire section here white, so the profile now blends in. So a very interesting change here. You see on the left with iOS 13 here, it was gray background with the profile. Now it's white, matching the background of the profile. So it's now the same color. So really cool. And they've also shortened the name a little bit. So if it's, I cannot tell if that's just me or something, but I think they shrunk down the name of the profile just a little bit. So I'm not sure, but really nice little background change, Apple. Kind of very interesting there. Okay guys, and this next one is in shortcuts. So now when I click down here where it says gallery, you'll notice that the entire gallery view has been redesigned. Previously it looked like this where it had no description of what the shortcut does, but now on iOS 14 here, they put a description next to the shortcut you want to add. So instead of having it like inside of here, like it's to have no description for any of these, you can only get the description when you want to add it. They now put a description of what it does before you add it now. So nice little way to tell what the shortcut does and whether or not you want it or not. So nice little description to tell you what the shortcut does and how it works. So really cool change, Apple. It's all around much better experience. Okay guys, so this next change is still in shortcuts, but now you have a little button up here that says shortcuts. When you click that, instead of getting this view all the time, you now get this new shortcut full out tab view. So now you can see what you did shortcuts in your Apple Watch, because shortcuts is now an Apple Watch app as well for watchOS 7. So there will be a new Apple Watch tab so you can see what shortcuts you have in your Apple Watch. And the share sheet where you can share your shortcuts and all shortcuts, they combine all of them into one. So really nice little change. So now you can see what you did on multiple devices, your watch and your phone. It does the same in this interface. So really cool and easier way to do it. And have the new design here too. So overall nice new tabs here as well. Okay guys, and this next change is only available on certain devices, not all of them yet, but some devices in the control center will get an NFC reader toggle. So like on my iPhone 7 Plus here, I updated to iOS 14 and I get this brand new toggle for hold near NFC tag reader, which is really cool. So this is only available on the iPhone 8, 7, and 7, like on the 7 models and the 8 model only. So 7, 7 Plus, 8, and 8 Plus only. So I'm not sure why it's not available on all devices yet, like my iPhone 11. It doesn't get that, but on the iPhone 7 Plus and my iPhone 8, I got this little toggle right here. So I think this is part of the new app clip thing Apple's been talking about, where you hold your phone to your tag and you app tag and you can preview the app and use it even if you don't have it yet. So I think that's what it's part of. So I'm not sure yet, but still really cool toggle Apple's added for certain devices. The iPhone 7, 7 Plus, 8, and 8 Plus only. So really cool. Okay, so this next change is in the music app. So previously, we tapped on the music player, it was light, only we have dark mode off, but it would turn dark if you have dark mode on. But a very interesting change I've noticed that when you tap the now playing tab, it will now stay dark no matter if you have dark mode on or off. So if you have dark mode on or off, it will stay dark in the same color. So dark mode no longer changes the now playing screen where you select and control your music. So really interesting. So it's now permanently dark. So the dark mode or invert colors will no longer change this. Only the classic invert will change this to like white. So I kind of like it dark better, so it stays dark all the time now. Really nice change. Okay, so this next change is in podcasts here, that when you bring up the now playing screen, you'll notice that the controls for the play and rewind are now much larger than they were before. See here the iOS 13 and here the iOS 14, you can clearly see that it's much larger than it was in iOS 13. So make it easier for you guys to see it. So really nice change there as well. Okay guys, this next one is a clock. So now you notice that if you look at the timer now, you know they have the little gray box going around the timer numbers to make it easier for you guys to see. So it's very hard to notice when your screen is very dim, so I turn mine up for you guys to see this. So you can see it now, there's now a box surrounding the numbers where you have it set to, so you won't get confused that number is down here or up here. So now there's the box around the numbers about where you want to set a timer. So these numbers are highlighted because that's the current time you set to set timer. So that's why they have it there, which is really cool. Okay guys, so this next one isn't clock. Now when you go to the alarms now, previously when you want to set an alarm, it looked like this. It had the same kind of like spinning dial as the timer did. But now when you set an alarm, look at that brand new interface. When you click on the time, you can now put in your own time. Like you could type in the time you want to wake up, like for an example, 6 o'clock like that. There's an example. And I can select AM or PM instead of scrolling and like accidentally saying the wrong time because see how fast it is. So this is much simpler. You could even put a new time like 2 o'clock. Oh yeah, you can even set your own seconds now too. Like 2 o'clock. And see how these two turn orange? Now you can set just a minute now, which is really cool. And you can even just set the hour, like 13, like 3, and just like that, I can set my own custom time now. You don't have to scroll like this. you can just type the time you want to wake up now, or the time you want the alarm to go off. So I think typing the time into the time section is much better than scrolling and losing your place and like hard to set. So it's much easier just typing in the time you want it to go off, and either just pressing which one for AM and PM is a lot easier than just going like this, because sometimes it can slide and kind of accidentally slide to the wrong one. So really helpful there, Apple. So that's a much better way to set an alarm than just scrolling. Okay, so this next new feature is the notes. Previously, when you want to mark up something, we click the little color wheel down here. You notice how the box is very hard to choose from down here. But now you click on iOS 14, it's much more organized. It has a lot more controls, like paste it right here, I think. And then you can add more colors down here. Like you can slide between all your colors right down here, like this. So you can choose and it previews the color right down here. You could change your pick of it, I'm not sure what it's called, in the spectrum. And you could choose the red and green slider, so the very first time. You can even type the display B3 hex color for the first time. I'm not sure what that is, but I think that's how to do with like the coloring of the note on the digital phone, I think, I'm not sure. But there's a lot of controls inside of here. You can even click up here to like you can even do up here to like have a magnifying glass of which color you want. Like you can even view the tiny pixels right here, just like that. You can even color just that one little spot, which is so cool. I've never seen some this cool in my, like, out of all my beta testing I've done, I've never seen something really cool like this from Apple. So really nice job, Apple. Just much more advanced markup controls. And this next feature is the notes again. So previously we want to select the eraser. Previously it had a little X on it. The little icon had X, but now the Apple's now removed it. So really cool. Okay guys, and here's another feature of notes, that when you like go to mark up something, for example like this, how I'm going to mark up like an example note right here on both of them. There's just an example scribble. When you click the eraser on both of them, previously you couldn't see how much line you're erasing, but now if in case you guys cannot see this, you do it, you see I kind of get like a little magnifier showing, like when I'm erasing, I'll do it with my small finger here. You guys can see, you see that it has tiny, like a little magnifier, just like that, so you can erase little by little. Instead of erasing the whole entire image, you can erase just part of it with a slight magnifier there. It's really cool. And the next one is that the undo buttons for the drawing have now been centered, so easier to get to, and without clicking done by mistake. So really cool. Okay guys, this next one is in a news app. So in iOS 14 on the right here, you notice that there's a brand new layout for notifications for the news app. So as you guys can see down here, I have from Apple News like news and feature tips, but on iOS 14 I got Apple's newsletter, so they can email me like Apple News stuff. Really cool. And you see a brand new interface. Instead of saying more channels, like I not have it turned on though, but I can't show you that, so it should look a bit different though. So really cool. Okay guys, so this next one is the news. Previously we tapped the options button right here for the suggested by Siri. Previously it would pop up in front of you like this, but now in iOS 14 it has a little menu that hovers below the toggle, just like the Notes app and just like Files. So much cleaner interface as well. Really cool, and much more detailed and much cleaner than iOS 13 was. So everything on iOS 14 is getting much cleaner. Nothing obstructing your guys' views anymore. So really cool change, Apple. Much cleaner than before. Okay guys, so this next one is also in news. Previously when you tap the edit button, you guys kind of see like the toggles kind of jump out of the way, like kind of like just pop out of view. But now in iOS 14 here, you notice that the toggles just push out of the way, then go out of the frame, which is really cool. See, they don't jump out of the way, they go to the side, then jump out of frame, which is really cool. Okay guys, so this next one is the maps. So previously if you had your location turned off, it would still show the little location off, but there's no way to turn it on without going to settings app menu, like getting on the maps and going to settings. But now in iOS 14 here, you'll see to have a little shortcut. So when you click it, it'll now ask you to go into settings and turn it on. So it's like a brand new little shortcut now. So it's really cool. So basically on iOS 13 you couldn't do that. The only way you could do it is go out of the map like this and go into settings. But now it gives you a nice little shortcut. It takes you into settings, jumps you right into settings to turn it on a lot quicker. You tap the back button to come back, and your location's on. So really nice little shortcut. I'll do it again. You see it's in a blue box now, so you can see easier, and a little arrow there telling you to turn on inside the settings app. So really nice little shortcut there. This makes it easier to turn on location for the maps and directions. Okay guys, this next change is in the Photos app. Previously, we wanted to zoom in. You had to click this tiny button right up here. So like zoom in, you click plus or minus, which is very hard to find and not easy access. But now, in iOS 14 here, you'll click the 3 dots up here, and you get a bunch of new options like show map, zoom in, filter, zoom out, or aspect. So the aspect turns them back into rectangles. It's about the same shape of the phone instead of squares. But the filter, I'm not sure that does yet, but the filter, you can filter them by all items, favorites, edited, photos, or video. So I'm just leave it on all items for now. So really cool. You even have the show map, but I'm not going to do that because I don't want to reveal anything. So really cool. And zoom in and out right here too. You can edit your actions right here to add them more to favorites. So when you do that, it puts them all up here now. So really cool. If you have them, if you don't have any up here, like take out 3 of them, they'll go down here. So really cool new way to edit and explore your photos. So awesome change, Apple. Okay guys, this next one is the reminders. You'll notice on iOS 13, you have 3 options called today, scheduled, and all. But now you have new icons for them. So today used to be a calendar with little days of the week, but now it shows the actual day of the week. It's really cool. And the scheduled has changed from the clock to the calendar icon. And now you have a brand new flagged option as well. And when you click edit on both of them here, you'll notice instead of saying this, you can now edit your options up here, and you have a brand new one called assigned to me, which is really cool. So brand new reminders options. So nice change. Apple makes it easier to organize and add and do reminders. When you click assign to me, you can basically, it tells you what happens when you assign a reminder to yourself or other people, like your friends and stuff like that. So really cool change. Okay guys, so this next one is the calendar. Previously, we click calendar here. You didn't have many options, but when you click calendar now, previously I don't have the delegate calendars on here, but when you click that, previously it was red on this side, but now it's black on here. Same for show decline events, now a check mark instead of a toggle, so really cool change. Okay guys, so this next one is in messages. So we go to Memoji, go to edit your Memoji. We go all the way to the head style. You get a bunch of new edges now. So these did not exist before. Previously, you were limited to a number of like styles like these 3 in the corner. But now they've added, like you had 3, now they've added 6 new ones for the age now, which is really cool. And we go to headwear, scroll all the way down, you now have a new one for face covering, which is really cool. So a nice little way, like nice little face covering edition. So nice little tweak there, Apple. Really cool way. So to like express itself. So really nice change. So I'm not sure how that works. Like if I put it on, you see my mouse still moves in the background, but you just can't see it because the new mask over for the face covering. I turn it off. So really cool. Okay guys, so the next feature and change is in health. So now they've made some of the icons smaller, like the magnifying glass and the search has made slightly smaller. The microphone up here is slightly shorter. The little button to view your health data is smaller too. And overall, they moved the search slightly downwards a little bit, and they've kind of moved the text around on the health categories words and browse as well in all of these as well. So really nice little change. It's very hard to notice the text movement, but it is there. Okay guys, so this next one is going to be in the health app. Let me find it. Now previously in iOS 13 here, you had health records and these tabs right down here. But now when you scroll down, the health records have been moved to other data. So you'll get the same stuff as in here. So really cool. I think this thing is down here for add account. I'm not sure where it is though, but really cool way to put it. And the next one, there's a new mobility section right here as well, along with the sleep. I think I never mentioned in the other video, so really cool. The 2 new options for mobility and sleep. Really cool. Okay guys, so this next one is in display and brightness. So when you tap in display and brightness here, tap night shift. So previously, when you adjusted the slider for color temperature, you couldn't see what more warm or less warm does, but now they've added the text back Previously, I don't know why, but they removed the text for color temperature in 13.6, so that was removed previously, but now they've added it back in iOS 14 beta 1, so it's the same text as before. If I can get my camera to focus here. It says warmer settings may affect the appearance of some on-screen motion, so that's really nice to have the text back again. So, really cool. Okay guys, this next one is also in display and brightness. You'll notice that the slider in iOS 13 here was like not very big and bold, hard to see, but now Apple's made the slider indicator bigger. The blue section there is the slider, so they made that darker and bigger as well. So you guys see the difference? This one's thinner, and this one's much bigger and bolder. So, really cool change there. Okay guys, and this next one is in display and brightness as well. So we go to display and brightness on both of them here. You'll notice that the check mark on iOS 32 was flat, and it was not like angular at all. But on iOS 14 here, it's now at an angle. You see that? iOS 13 on the left, iOS 14 on the right. You can see the check mark is now in a slight angle now. So it's basically like a 3D check mark now, which is really cool. You see iOS 13 on the left right here. See, it's like flat. It's not facing anything. But iOS 14 here, they moved the check mark, so it looks like it's facing towards you now, which is really cool little detail they put into there. So really nice little change and very hard to spot. So really cool. Okay guys, this next one is in the app switcher, but this one's very hard to spot. On iOS 13 here, you notice the G has like a little short thing right there, but on iOS 14 they made it slightly longer, so it's very hard to see it. But Apple has moved the text a little bit around. So you see the G is like a little bit lower now than it used to be. Like the little end of the G is now lower. It's very hard to see it. But if you look at the T's, they moved it closer. So if you look at the two T's in the settings, text on iOS 13, they're spread apart. On iOS 14, they're not closer. You guys can clearly see that. The T's in iOS 13 are spread apart. And now in iOS 14, they're a lot closer now. So it's very hard to spot it, but it is there. So the T's and the settings, you can see it a lot more in those two. So this overall really good, really surprising how they can move the little text like that and hard to spot, but it's really cool how they do that. They're just straightening everything out, making sure nothing's crooked in any way. So overall, great job, Apple, at fixing all text errors right there. Okay guys, and this next one is an App Store. So on the App Store here, you see the little lettering of the letter Y right here. You see the little end of it have like pointing straight, but in iOS 14 here, it's pointing slight upward now. You see, iOS 13 is like pointing like kind of like this way, but iOS 14, the little end of the Y is slightly upward now, so it's very hard to notice it. And on the text right here on the word getting, the two T's have been spread out a little bit. And it's really hard to notice the changes, but they are there. Same with the H, have moved closer to the R and like stuff, so it's very hard to notice it, but it is there. So overall, Apple's been messing with the text everywhere in the whole system, so really cool. Okay guys, so this next one is in the control center. When you force touch on the platter here, this one's even harder to spot than the other one. But if you notice on the airplane icon, you see the text has been moved to the little bit, very hard to see it. But the text has been straightened out on iOS 14 here on the right. You can see if you look at the air part of it, it's been straightened out where the beginning of the letter where plane is, it's been straightened out, but it's very hard to see it. Like on Bluetooth, it's been spread apart more. On iOS 13, it's closer, but on iOS 14, they spread the O and the TH apart. And same for Wi-Fi. It's been slightly tweaked. It's very hard to see it, but the text changes are there. You actually have to compare images to see it, but it is there, but very hard to spot. So, really cool. And the next one is in the control center as well. So when you force touch on the music platter, you notice the play button has been made slightly smaller now. So the controls are slightly smaller in iOS 14 on the right here. And the little volume adjustments right here have been spread out, you see. Here the iOS 13 was close, and I meant other way around where it's spread out more, but iOS 14 has moved it closer. So you see iOS 13, iOS 14, so it's moved slightly closer than it was before. So Apple is moving things around to make sure they're in the right spot. So really interesting change and very hard to notice as well. So really cool tweak there. Okay guys, and this next one is also in Control Center here. So when you force touch on the timer now, you can see the text has been moved. So if you look at the URS part of the hours, you can see there's a little gap between the R and the U. But now in iOS 14, that gap is smaller. You see that? And the gap between the O and the U is bigger now. So you see in iOS 13 here, there's like almost no gap between the O and the U for hours, and there's a gap between the U and the R. But now the O and the U have a gap now in the U are like have a very smaller gaps, so the text has been moved as well on here. So in the timer section, the text for hours has been moved around a little bit. So really cool, Apple. Very nice text changes there. Okay guys, so this next change is in the control center. So when you force touch on the camera toggle, you can see that the camera platter is way smaller, and the take selfie icon was round. Now it's been changed to square. And the record video icon is no longer filled in. And the squares icons for take a portrait and take portrait selfies is now smaller as well. So everything is being made smaller, so you can see it a lot easier. So really cool change there, Apple. A nice little tweak and cleanup there. Okay guys, so this next change is the control center here. So when you touch and go into the Apple TV remote option here, you'll notice the icons are actually smaller on iOS 14 here. So if my camera will focus, see the TV icon is smaller for TV button, the search button is smaller, Siri icon is smaller, the play pause button is smaller, and same for the menu button. Everything is all smaller now. So it's a really nice change. And the trackpad is actually bigger on the 11 here than it is on the 10. So nice big change there to the TV remote. So Apple's trying to make everything fit and look nice before the final release in September. So really cool. Okay guys, so this next change is in the control center again, but with the notes selection here. So when you select notes in iOS 13 here and iOS 14, you can see the note spot on iOS 14 is way smaller than it is on iOS 13. So there's a big size difference there. So really cool. No matter which size device you have, if it's the iPhone SE first generation or the 6S Plus or regular size 6S or the 7s, anything like that, it will be the same size for all devices. A lot smaller and cleaner. So, and it's no longer a rectangle, it's now a square, which is a really nice little change there. And looks way nicer than it did in iOS 13 here. Okay guys, so this next change is in the control center now. When you scroll down to the text size, you'll notice that the letterings for default have been slightly moved as well. So the L and the T have moved closer to the default, to the rest of the word. So if you look at the U, you'll notice there's the gap between the U and the L. And now there's no longer a gap, so it's very hard to notice it, but Apple moves the L and the T, part of the default word, slightly closer than it was on iOS 13. It's very hard to notice it, but if you look in between the U and the L, you'll notice it. So it is slightly closer. So that's a really hard change of spot, but it is there. So really nice little change to the text there, Apple. So they're just cleaning it up all the way now. Okay guys, so this next change is also in the control center. That when you force touch and do not disturb now, you'll notice the text for the do not disturb has been slightly moved. It's very hard to see it, but if you look at the U and the T and the U, those have been moved slightly apart now. So the do not disturb part of it, where you see T and U, has been moved slightly apart. In iOS 13 it's very close there, but in iOS 14 it's moved slightly, it moved out slightly, so it's very hard to see that, but it is there. So overall, nice little text change there, Apple. So overall, Apple is fixing all the text in every part of the system to make it nicer before the final release. So all the text is being changed. That's basically what's going on here. So Apple is basically fixing every single text in the entire system before the final release in September. That's why they're doing that. So overall, great change. Okay guys, so this next change is in calculator. This one's very hard to spot, but if you notice that the percentage icon has now been straightened. Same for the plus, same for the like positive and negative signs for the numbers have been made bigger. So you see the icons are slightly bigger in all the divide, multiply, minus, and plus. Those are all bigger now. Previously they're a lot smaller over here. You see the percent sign is now straight and it's bigger. So really nice change there. Okay guys, so there is another change in the calculator app I want to show you guys today. That if on iOS 13 here, if you turn to phone landscape, these buttons are very hard to find, and if you want to use these keys right, like the 2x, 3x, and yx in the log 10, it was very hard to find the controls there because they're so small. But now, on iOS 14 here, you can see those controls have been made much larger. So if you look at the y-axis, it's like twice the size of its original, like it was on iOS 13. Same for the 3x one, it's much larger as well. So here's iOS 13 on the bottom, iOS 14 on the top. You guys can see these three buttons are much larger than they were on iOS 13. So it's very hard to notice it, but it is there. So look at the y-axis right here, larger, the 3x much larger, and the 2x much larger as well. In the log 10, the number 10 there is a little bit larger, but a little smaller actually, but it's very hard to notice. See, the 10 number is a bit smaller than it was in the previous version, so really cool, and that's the hardest one to spot in calculator. So really cool there. Okay guys, and this next one is in compass. that if you notice if you look at the degree text with the direction, a little degree symbol has now gone smaller. You can see on the left that I was 13, and on the right side is 14. You can see the little degree shape symbol there has shrunk quite a bit, and in the direction has moved outward a little bit. So really cool. As you guys see, it's very hard to notice it, but they moved the degree outward a little bit, and same for direction outward. So smaller and moved outward. So I was 13 on the left, have the big one. I was 14, have the smaller one now. Makes a lot more room here. So really cool change there as well. Okay, and this next one is in podcast here. Let me find it. That if you look at the text on podcast now, you'll notice that it had slightly moved as well. So right down here, the little search for podcast has slightly moved a little bit. The listen now is slightly moved. Overall, it's very, very hard to notice it, but it is there. Same for these controls down here. On iOS 14, the play button has been moved slightly closer to the rewind button. Because on iOS 13, they're spread apart. And iOS 14, they're moved a lot closer now. So really, really cool change there. Okay, guys, so this next one is in the TV application. It is very hard to spot, but the text in TV, like the see all button, had the underline have moved all the way out. So no longer underlines because on iOS 13 here, it didn't underline the rest of the all text, but now it does. Really cool. And instead of Apple TV app here, it says shows movies and more. It's really cool. They slightly moved all the text for every movie and TV show shows right here. They've moved. Same for the search, have moved slightly closer to the rest of the word. So really cool. Like the R in the search has moved slightly closer to the C in search. C in iOS 14, those letters have moved slightly closer. iOS 13 on the left here, it's spread apart. iOS 14, they're closer now. So really, really cool change there. It's very hard to notice it, but with picture comparison, you can see it easily. Okay guys, so those last changes in folders that you notice the text for utility has slightly moved farther apart. As you guys, slightly closer I meant. You see, the text for TV has moved slightly closer for utilities here. That text has moved just a little bit. It's very hard to notice it, but Apple has moved the text up there as well. Same for some of the apps down here, like voice memos, they've moved the text a little bit. Compass as well. Measured basically on these, they spread them more apart. So really cool text change, but it's very hard to see it, but it is there. So that's pretty much it for this video. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up in the video. Peace.